Hello and welcome to our final dialogue for this DEI challenge this year. And we hope you continue to engage with us on other DEI programs. Today, we want to start by thanking our sponsors, Hypertherm Associates, New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, Revision Energy, Merchants Fleet, Kennebunk Savings, our partners NHPR and NHBR's 603 Diversity Magazine. I want to introduce our speakers and facilitator for the day. Our speakers are Eva Castillo, Director of New Hampshire Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees, a native of Caracas, Venezuela. Eva has a long history of working with and advocating for immigrants. She came to the US in 1975 to study at Western Michigan University, and she began her career at the nearby Hispanic American Council. In 1984, she moved to New Hampshire, where she worked first at the New England Farm Workers Council and later at the Latin American Center in Manchester. She joined MIRA in 2007 as the organizer for the New Hampshire Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees, of which she's now a director. Eva also directs Welcoming New Hampshire Initiative. And we have Vijay joining us. Vijay Bujel is the Deputy Director of Building Community in New Hampshire, a nonprofit organization that helps refugees and immigrants navigate their way to safe, healthy, productive, prosperous, and connected lives in New Hampshire. He brings 11 years of experience working with refugees in New Hampshire. He's done remarkable work for Accentria Care Alliance in Concord, where he has led the resettlement and integration team. And today, our facilitator is Beth Tenner, who works with social change leaders in business, nonprofits, and communities, helping them sense what is changing and find ways to take action aligned with their values. Her passion is to bring people together in ways that unlock and ignite personal, group, and community potentials. Strategy consultant and facilitator with New Directions Collaborative based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and also runs kinship, small group gatherings, workshops, and coaching. And I'll hand it over to Beth, and she will be our facilitator for the day. Of course, there's extensive bios, so we are going to put a link to the full bios for our speakers and facilitators in the chat, so you can review it. And as usual, NHBSR staff have the NHBSR next to them in chat. So please, if you need anything or feel or have a question, please feel free to message us directly. And I'll hand it over to Beth.
Thank you, Zena, and thank you all for being here for such an important conversation today. So just to cover what we're going to do today, we'll be talking about the area of how do we look at the immigrant community in the workplace and how they're fitting into our communities, and also the unique experience of refugees. And why is it important to create inclusive workplaces? And then what resources and practices can help your workplace and culture become more inclusive? And as part of that, we're going to also be practicing, learning, and finding innovative solutions with our peers by the way that we dialogue today. So we want to embody the practice of encouraging all voices and finding that diversity of exchange so we access the best thinking and where something new can emerge from our learning together. So you can advance the slide. And to support that, we always like to review these guidelines for how we each show up, because we each show up in certain ways, and that allows the group to do more together. So the first one we ask you is to speak from your personal experience with I statements. If we're always talking about they and those guys and the problem out there, it's not always as activating, and doesn't move us towards change when we focus on what we know and have experienced. That also means being curious about others' experience. We want to each take responsibility for the whole group's experience and are part of it. So this is things like being mindful about airtime, listening for all voices. Sometimes when you're in a new group, it can be hard if one person's going on and on. So, I invite you sometimes to use the raise hand if you want to get a word in, but let's all be intentional about sharing airtime. We talk about this as a brave space, so recognize that sometimes these topics we are uncomfortable, and stay in it if you can. You know, it's not always easy to talk about these injustices and the challenges that people are facing. So I would invite you to be brave and stay with it. Um, and come from the orientation that we are all learning. We don't have it all figured out. We all have blind spots. You know, we're coming from systems that have a lot of injustice in them. So we're all positioned in that place somewhere. So just coming from the idea that we're learning, we don't have all the answers and we may have stuff wrong. So can we be humble about that? And as part of that humility is also just that interest in being curious. So listening to others, asking follow-on questions, and expect non-closure. These are big issues, long-term historical challenges and patterns in humanity. So we need to sit with our questions. And I think today we're looking at, how do we welcome the newcomer? How do we look at all the things that immigrants could be bringing into our companies and communities. So there's a lot of questions and a lot of patterns that might block all that potential. So that's lots to think about today. And always we look at honoring confidentiality, particularly if we open up and share stories about our lives or about things that we've seen or witnessed in our workplace. Let's maybe take the lesson, but all the details of the stories stays with the people and stays confidential. So thanks for showing up in this way. We also have some safety tips, which I think Zena's going to cover.
Yes, so as I mentioned, if you have any concerns or if you see something in chat that's bothering you, please send your concerns to anyone with NHBSR staff next to their name. You can access a direct message if you click on our names and direct message us privately. If you are assigned to a breakout room and you're not comfortable in that breakout room, you can always leave. I will be outside and can reassign you, or you can hang out in the main room until the discussions are done. So please feel free to use the features of Zoom to your comfort.
Thanks, Zena. And so just to preview the flow of our call today, we are just finishing up the welcome and the guidelines, and then we're going to have two speakers who will just give us some content from both the picture of the trends and the bigger situation we have in New Hampshire. And of course, some of this is going to be relevant to other states if you're based somewhere else. We're just focused on those statistics today. So we'll hear from each speaker about 10 minutes each, and then we'll have a chance to go into breakouts and talk about this with a small group. So our process is, we find it helpful to give you some time to think by yourself, to reflect on a question. So you'll have a little time to think by yourself before you join the group. Then you'll talk with a group of 4 in a breakout session about the first question, have some time with them. We'll come back to the whole group and hear what was arising from the small groups. You can put some things in chat. And then you'll go back to the same group and take a second question. So trying to deepen the experience where you can really have some more time with the same group of people once you get to know each other. And then same cycle, we'll come back and hear what's there. And then after that, we'll be wrapping up by 1 for those who need to go at 1 o'clock. And then there's what we're calling open space, where we have more time for those who want to keep going with the conversation. So we have an extra half hour at the end. All right, Zena, so
I'll hand it over to Eva, our first speaker,
yeah,
and I'll
great.
share her slides. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Eva Castillo. I'm living in New Hampshire. I just put together a little thing for numbers so you get a feeling of what New Hampshire is like for immigrants. As you can see, comparing numbers from 22 to the 2000, we have grown by maybe 10,000 people. So now we're 6% foreign born versus 4.4 that was in 2000. And over half of the people are naturalized citizens compared to 47% that were naturalized citizens in 2000. Okay, keep going. The top countries for immigrants in New Hampshire, you'll be surprised, is India, then follow with Canada, China, Nepal, and the Dominican Republic. Okay. the countries that have the most refugees that have been resettled here are from Congo, followed by Bhutan, Burundi, Afghanistan, and Burma, the Rohingya people. Go ahead. Immigrants are entrepreneurs, and I put this together. This is part of a larger study because when people think of immigrants and refugees, they think automatically of needy people. We're equated with neediness, and that is not the case. We really come to contribute to this nation, and immigrants are entrepreneurs. We have a lot of people that are self-employed and that employed people in different industries. So I want to really shift that needy mentality because that's not what we're about. We did not come here with any status to take from the society. We come here to contribute, and in fact, we do contribute a lot to our society. Okay, next. And by industry, manufacturing is the largest, but we have, food and services. That those are the major employers for people. The hospitality industries, they're very big too. So we do have, a big variety of professions. Okay, go ahead. Education, and that's another thing where people have misunderstandings. Roughly half the people that are here have college education. And again, you that are concerned about diversity and inclusion, just take a minute to think about, again, the stereotypes and the images of people that come here that, that we're uneducated. I remember I worked here for over 30 years with immigrants in New Hampshire, and we used to have a Tyson plant. And I worked with those workers. Initially, that's what got me started in advocacy before I gave services, but I realized services are just putting band-aids for a larger problem. So we need to really advocate and help people claim their power. So I became like the unofficial steward for the union because the guy that the union steward lived in Maine, so he really wasn't too much interested in that. When they closed that Tyson plant, there were medical doctors, dentists, attorneys, engineers packing beef inside that nasty place because people are not given the chance. People, the stereotype is that we're not capable and people were not given the chance to get a professional job. So, and this is a reality, for a lot of people. We come here, we bring skills, and we're underutilized because people are not given the chance. And I realize professions such as being an attorney in your country, laws are very different, but still, they should be given the chance to get some type of professional job in a legal firm. And while they learn even to become a paralegal, they have the skills to investigate, to do research, yet we do not give people the chance. Next. So what we contribute to New Hampshire, this is part of an older study, is $3.2 billion in 2014. And we paid local and state taxes. Even those people that are undocumented pay taxes, and undocumented people cannot access any type of federal benefit. So they cannot get any type of benefit. They just need to work and figure out how they're gonna make ends meet. And they pay to Social Security for us, and they will never be able to use any of those monies. Okay. Again, this is another one about taxes. I will just send it to you if you're interested, and that's it. I don't wanna just talk too much about that. When I hear diversity and inclusion, it really, I appreciate the efforts, but at the same time, I see, and that's one of my pet peeves, and even here in New Hampshire, I don't know where you're located. When people think about diversity and inclusion, they think that is enough to just bring a bunch of BIPOC people, what I call diversity for the picture. You just bring them into your board, bring them into your but you're not really that interested in the inclusion part. The inclusion part really involves giving some of your power and listening to people and including their position and their point of view and co-creating a new organization. Not diversity for the picture, have a bunch of, colored people and smile for the picture and that's it. It involves co-creating and not expecting them to just come and melt into your pot. And I find, that it happens all the time that people just invite you to sit at a table and they don't even acknowledge hearing what you have to say. So it is really frustrating, and I just want to call your attention not to do that and to be conscious that inclusion means giving up your power and giving an equal seat at the table and an equal voice and listening and really considering the diverse ideas that people have to contribute. We all come from, we all see the world through our own lenses, and we all live in a different bubble. But until we find a way to look around, we cannot get a whole 360. If I put a 6 in between you and I, my 6 is your 9. And that doesn't mean that I'm correct and you're wrong or vice versa. It's just looking at the world through different perspectives. So just keep an eye on that. One of the big things that I find that really we leave behind is, in addition to our culture and everything, is our social capital. We come here and we're nobodies. We come here, we do not know anybody. We do not have anybody pushing us or helping us succeed or no connections. So we really basically have to start from scratch. And it's very difficult. We have to learn a new language, learn a new culture, learn new systems. That systems were created to serve people, when they were homogeneous, or now, they don't serve me or my people. Because, again, we go back to perspective. The service industry is, with their goodwill, I think is doing a disservice to people too, because they fail to take into consideration people's voices again. It's always with their goodwill, what I think you need, instead of asking them what it is that they really need. So we're used to working top down rather than bottom up. And, I'm not a member of LGBTQ community, so what do I know about them, even though I support them? If I don't ask, what is it, how can I help you and contribute to you, or how can we work together for something? Who am I to decide what it is that they need? And right now, if you're sitting here, it's because you care and because you have given some thought to this. We are in terrible situations politically, and I say both parties are equal. We are being referred to as criminals here in New Hampshire. The last week, they were referring to immigrants, aliens here, aliens there, pedophiles, illegals. And I finally said in one of my testimonies, I said, could you please stop calling us aliens? We're people. Refer to us as people. Don't talk to us in that way. Even the USCIS that used to use that term, they were told to stop using that term and refer to people as just people. And they said, no, that's who you are, aliens. So, so it's really painful to see that after all, that we're being diminished in such a way and dehumanized. And the media, all they do is amplify anything. There are good people and bad people in every single group. But every time an immigrant does something, regardless of what part of the country it is, we feel the backlash wherever we are. When you see nobody refers to an Irish American killed or robbed a bank or did something, but an immigrant from wherever did this. So it's really bad. And also, incidentally, being here undocumented is not a crime. It is a civil violation. It is a crime when you re-enter a bit after being deported. But if you just enter the country without inspection, that is not a crime. So we all have a role to, first of all, erase the I word. No human being is illegal. People commit illegal actions, but even a bank robber, you do not call those people illegals. So no human being is illegal. And do your part to erase the A word. We're talking about people. We're not talking about aliens from outer space. We're all here. We have the same needs and the same wants and the same everything that you have. So it's really difficult. And when you hire, don't pay so much attention for some things. Don't pay so much attention to degrees also. You know, life experience counts a lot. I see a bunch of people, I see a bunch of the consultants are experts in DEI, and they're white people that never had to face anything other than being white, and they're the experts. Get people that have really lived in the flesh what it is to be older, what it is to be an outsider, what it is to be somebody older than your average person that really has lived the experience. Those are the experts, regardless of how many letters you have after your name. I see, like in Manchester, in our little city, we have 85 languages spoken. The teachers of Spanish habla español así. We have perfect native-born Spanish speakers, and they're not given the chance to teach their own language. And then these people have the goal to correct native speakers in their Spanish. It would be like me correcting you the way you pronounce your English. And those are realities that are happening all the time. These are the little things that we live every single day that keep reminding us that we do not belong. We have, issues with transportation because we do not have driver's licenses for undocumented people. And right now they even want to limit the licenses for the people that are here legally present while their asylum are approved. I have personally worked for over 25 years with law enforcement to get them to understand that it's not in their benefit and in this benefit of the community to act as immigration agents and to get them to stop profiling. I'm a police commissioner, and I have been a police commissioner in my biggest city since 2011. And now the state legislators want to give the power to police and make them act as immigration agents. So this is gonna destroy over 20 or some years of work, and it's gonna create mistrust between a community and make us all less safe. And the chiefs of police themselves came and testified against the bill, yet the Senate just passed it, and it's gonna be hearing tomorrow on the House side, when the chiefs themselves said we do not need this, this is gonna hurt us, and they still did pass it. So we have a lot of national anti-immigrant organizations that come shopping to different states, and they find a representative that will present whatever laws they want to make the life of immigrants miserable. And and they bring their own attorneys to talk about them and everything. And that's what we're facing now.
Yeah, Eva, thank you. Thank you so much for your comments. I want to make sure we have time for VJ, and just to you gave us a lot to think about, and I want to acknowledge we only have a short time to get content, and this conversation needs a lot more time to be learning from you and others, which I hope BSR will have time to give it. Do you have any other final thing you want to wrap?
No, I was expecting for your crew to tell me that it's time to shut up.
Okay.
So just give some thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And And this thing of listen directly and don't assume needs or ignore needs sounds, we heard that loud and clear. So we do need time to listen. So now I want to hand it over to Vijay and sharing again. A lot more time is needed, but you will give us a taste of your experience and want to honor what you've been through and really thank you for being with us today to share that.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It is with great honor and pride that I stand before you today to share my journey from being a refugee to becoming a proud citizen of this United States of America. My name is Vijay Bujel, originally from a beautiful Himalayan country, Bhutan. However, at the tender age of 12 in 1992, my life took an unexpected turn when my family and I were forced to flee our homeland, leaving behind everything we knew and loved due to the government attacks on our religion, culture, and human rights. We found ourselves seeking refuge in the eastern region of Nepal, where we lived in a refugee camp for over 2 decades. Despite the challenges and uncertainties of life in the camp, I was determined to make a difference. As the year passed, I took it upon myself to contribute to my community by becoming a volunteer teacher for refugee children. It was a small way for me to give back and provide hope during the hardship that we were facing. For years, we waited in hope for repatriation, longing to return to our homeland. However, as time went on, it became apparent that repatriation was not on the horizon. In 2012, our lives took a new turn, when we were given the opportunity for the resettlement in the third country. So I was given the opportunity to come to the United States. On October 10th, 2012, I arrived in the United States, filled with gratitude for the chance to start a new life. My journey in the United States didn't just end with my resettlement. It was only the beginning of a new chapter filled with opportunity to serve and give back to my community. In 2013, until May 2023, I served and gave back to my community. I worked tirelessly in various capacity within resettlement agencies, from being a case manager to eventually a resettlement and integration coordinator at a Center Care Alliance. During this time, I had the privilege of assisting countless individuals and families in their journey towards rebuilding their lives in the United States. In May 2023, I transitioned into a new role as a deputy director of a multi-ethnic community organization, BCNH, as Building Community in New Hampshire. In this capacity, I continue to work passionately towards empowering and advocating for the rights and well-being of immigrants and refugees, ensuring that they have the support and resources needed to thrive in their new home. My journey from refugee to citizen is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of opportunity and community support. I am grateful for the warmth and hospitality that the United States has extended to me and my family. And I am committed to paying it forward by making a meaningful contribution to the diverse tapestry of the great nation. So right now, I'm with BCNS. So BCNS is a multi-ethnic mutual assistance association that provides an array of services required by the diverse refugee immigration communities that help newcomers to understand and navigate the systems that are part of their everyday life. So with this, I just want to ensure that, refugees, they have spent most of their valued life in, uh, the refugee camp doing nothing. So once they come to United States, they always look for the opportunities. So I am the example right here that, I work 2 full-time jobs. And, just I think that, like I have spent my productive life in the refugee camp like other refugees, and the refugees, the young refugees, they are always willing to work and rebuild their lives. So giving an opportunity to these refugees, despite their barriers like language and, cultures, they are always productive, and, um, they will always be, valued people in this community. So with this, I think I already spent like 10 minutes, and thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your story. Yeah, really helpful to hear directly of what you've gone through and how you're giving so much back. Yeah, it's really beautiful. So thank you. So now is a time for us to like take in what we heard and what you've been learning in the materials. And we're going to give you a minute to write down your own ideas, and then you'll be moved into breakout groups of 4 and have a chance to share and talk with each other, and then coming back to the whole group. So if you go to the next page of the slides, the question, we're just going to start with what moved you in these stories of what you heard from Eva and VJ. So take a minute to just write down what moved you, maybe relate it back to your own experience or what you're learning here. And then in about a minute, we'll move you into small groups in the breakout rooms.
I want to move Beth. Sorry, Beth.